order the planning board of the town of Nashville, October 29th. We have a quorum. First order of business will be the approval of the minutes from our last meeting. They've been distributed to the board. That meeting was dated July 30th. Other than a change on number 5, the adjournment, even though Ms. Lewis opened the meeting because I was late for that meeting, I closed the meeting. So other than a change to that, where I closed the meeting in Article 5, is any other changes to the minutes? Changes to the minutes, I entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Eddie Thomas has approved, Ms. Collier has seconded. Approve the minutes, signify by saying aye. Aye. Minutes are passed unanimously. Sean?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We'll move into number 3 on our agenda, which is the Liberty Acres final plat approval. I take we all did our due diligence and already read through this pretty thoroughly, so we'll just kind of highlight some of the main points so we can get to Mr. Mike Stockson's here for his part of the presentation for this subdivision. But what we have before us tonight is LP 2024-01, the approval of Liberty Acres subdivision. It is a 17.99 acres, identified with a ID number of 380016928666. And pretty much our final facts for this subdivision was as follows. On March 19, 2024, the town council approved the special use permit to allow 88 residential duplexes in the proposed site not to exceed the recommended number. Please see the following sheet from town council additional requirements for the proposed site. We'll go over that in a little bit. Kevin Barnell with Stars Engineering proposed the final site on August 5th, 2024 with the TRC team, the Town Technical Review Committee. Kevin Barnell resubmitted the final plat to the TRC committee team on September 26, 2024. TRC team met again on September 26, 2024. We were satisfied with the final plat. Notice for the public hearing for the review of the final plat was published in the newspaper. They did run on October 17th, 24th, and the 31st. And that will be for the public hearing that the town council will have. The proposed subdivision will be accessed off Liberty Drive. The proposed subdivision will have public water and sewer. Notices were mailed out on October the 4th to adjoining property owners within 500 feet. That was 45 property owners, and once again, it did run into graphic the 17th, 24th, and 31st. If you look at your picture on the agenda report, and you also look at the one online right here that I have pulled up on the GIS, this is the proposed site they're looking at developing for the 88 residential townhouses. It is a R6 zoning district. That night, the main thing we need to look at first is what the town council said that night for the special use. Development intensity shall not exceed 88 residential units. They have met that. There shall be fence along the rear yard of any lot that abuts the recreation area. They have met that. The recreation area shall have a butt to the street right of way. They have met that. The development shall include at least 2 parking areas. They do have to provide 2 parking spaces. Any walkways located between units shall be 10 foot wide. The sidewalks within development shall be looped with no dead-end sidewalks greater than 300 feet. The notes from the TRC that week on August the 5th that we presented to Mr. Bardell to get back with the developer were from Parks and Recs. We want to know about common space and lighting plan. The developer did get back with us at the next TRC and said that he proposed a 44,000 square feet, which is 1 acre, or 1.1 acre of common space. Our fire department chief Joyner at least wanted 5 hydrants placed in development. At the present time, it wasn't 5. They went back and proposed 5 hydrants to be placed in development. The police department, Deputy Chief Boykin, did want to see a lighting plan for the proposed subdivision. Street lights will be installed throughout the entire subdivision, what they replied back to us with. Planning, our main thing was to mail kiosks across the street from the recreation area. They did meet that in the new proposal. And some other stuff that we needed just to be able to say a bit orders was the block letter be installed on the final proposal. Street names have not been assigned yet. They will be assigned by Nash County GIS or by the developer when they get to that point, which the town will know. And Public Works main concern was they want to know about the dumpster. Would they be providing a on-site trash dumpster for GFL to pick up, or would they be providing the rollout canisters? According to the developer, they will be providing the rollout canisters, and they will have them abut against their rear property, and they will be fixed if needed. So if you go to page number 4, you can see all the red comments made by me that what the developer had to meet for the ordinance for a final plat. He turned in once again 9/26/24. The plat was developed by Mike Stotts, Kevin Barnell, of Stotts Engineering. The proposed names are Liberty Drive. Right now, we have a street A, street B. We will be getting proposed names in the final days of it. They do show the lot lines, lot size, and block numbers on the final plat, the building setback lines, the envelope, all that's on the final setback plat. It is not located in 1-year floodplain boundary and floodway. The location of existing platted properties, existing buildings, right-of-ways, right-of-ways, corporate limits, lines, parks, and public utility easements on adjacent lands, 500 feet shown on the plat. Subdivision graphic scale was shown on the plat. Name of the subdivided registered land survey of engineer charged with the preparation of the plat, that's shown on the plat. Location of public waterway, water shed boundaries. The entire property is located in public water supply watershed. Linear feet of streets, 2,500 linear feet, that's shown on the final plat. Number of lots that meet what we asked, 88 by the town council with special use permit, that was shown. Minimum street frontage, 20. Minimum lot size, 2,200 square feet, which meets that zoning district's minimum lot size. Areas of proposed right of way, 3.51. Parking space required 2 per dwelling plus 1 per 3 per dwelling off-site parking. So 2 on, 1 off. And all that is showed on the plat. Maximum allowable building part area in each lot tract located within the public water system. Water supply watershed, 5.19 acres. That is 28.85%. They submit the digital copy. All the lien holders, that was shown on the final plat. Also requested by us, similar certificate shown was on the final plat. They met all our certificates, so today we are here to show that 1, they did meet the requirements of the special use permit that the town council did ask for, and that 2, they did meet the requirements of our ordinance. But now, Mr. Chairman, I will yield back to you so that we can turn it over to Mr. Mike Stotts, who's here from Stotts Engineering. They'll be able to entertain any questions that the planning board may have about this final plan.
And you have our approval sheet.
No, sir, I did not bring that with me, but I can tell you what approval would be. When we get state consistency, we're gonna approve, deny, or table. I'll make sure that we know what to say.
It'll be approved, deny, or recommend with
With conditions, yes, sir.
conditions. Okay. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, my name is Mike Stocks with Stocks Engineering. Sean did an excellent job of recapping the program or the proposed project. I do have one comment or question, Sean. My notes, Kevin told me that they have a single dumpster pad location that has 2 dumpsters instead of rollout carts.
Okay.
They're not against the rollout carts. They just think a neighborhood of townhouses would look cleaner if there was a single 2-unit dumpster pad as opposed to rollout carts. So that's the only discrepancy I had with what you said.
Yes, sir, that may could just came from the TRC meeting when we got a discussion with Public Works. I maybe could have jotted down their note and not what was correct, but it's 2 now to be 2 dump sites instead of rollout carts. And I think from Public Works and TRC, that's what Public Works was recommending that they have instead of rollout carts was a dumping site.
Yeah. Instead of rolling carts, you dump inside.
Yes, sir, because it would take the strain off of having us run a route in there where we could just have GFL running for
Is that what
us.
you believe?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll try to answer any questions you may have.
Let me ask you a question, kind of goes to that. On page 7, under recommendations under public works, you have our packet. It's
I do
signed.
not.
So the question is, would the developer only provide 1 dumpster site, provide additional 1, and talks about rolling carts? But the answer doesn't go with that. The answer on ours is, according to the developer, the properties will not abut against any rear property where a fence is needed. So it's the answer to something, not that. He's answered the dumpster cart question. Y'all see where I'm at?
I think that question was proposed from, if you look at the site, and if you pull up your map you have with you right here, I think the main concern was the count. They were saying where they put a fence in this area right here that busts up the real property. From what I was told, the developer said being that all that was wooded area, they did not see the recommendation to have to put a fence up in the present moment.
So though the answer to go with the question's about the dumpster, you answered that. That's my question, is when we look at the bottom of the plat map, and we look at the houses on Old Spring Hook Road, if we look at that section JKLMN, what is the buffer between those possibly 20, 24 townhouses or residences and existing property owners?
Well, we have the reference point of the 20-foot MBL-SL. Do you see that dash line?
I do, sir.
So I do not have a scale with me, but it looks like that is a little less than half. So I'm gonna say 40 to 45 feet.
Okay, because talking, I'm seeing on, okay, I see what you're talking about, the little dash line.
Yes, sir. That is a 20-foot offset, which is the building setback line. So there's an additional 20 to 24 feet maybe.
Okay, so there's a 24 foot buffer past their property boundary or building setback?
No, sir. 24 past the building setback line for a total of about 44. From the building to the property line, about 44 feet.
Right, so, but there's nothing from the property line to the neighbor's property line in the back of a buffer.
They have an MBSL too. I don't know what it is on their side, but we're not proposing anything past the property line.
So,
You show drainage and utilities.
Yeah, well, that's the town 5-foot drainage and utilities, yeah. But that's inside of the 20-foot.
and that's just an easement.
Yes, sir.
Is anything that would require a buffer or a fence?
Not in our ordinance, Mr. Chairman, that I'm aware of. I do know that with the special use, they did say that, but it said in the special use part, there shall be fence along the rear yard of any lot that abuts the recreation area, and they did meet that.
Yeah, just, and their yards abut the recreation area, so they're not gonna do anything there. That's why that reads correct. It's just, I don't know, just thought it was odd that you would buffer against the recreation area needed, but not against existing properties that are much larger, more rural properties from a high density area. Where we wouldn't ask to buffer against that or fence against it.
Mr. Chairman, I was not at the council meeting, so I wasn't engaged in those conversations, so I don't know if it was even discussed.
Yes, sir, I wasn't either. Any thoughts about it, Sean?
I don't recall it being discussed. I think the council main concern was they wanted to make sure anybody that reared the property that abutted the recreation area, that we did provide some type of screening from that.
Any other questions, Mr. Stocks, concerns?
It's a kind of a wet area. Where's the stormwater, runoff? Which direction does it go? Does it go through South Creek?
No, sir, it does not go through South Creek. South Creek is on the other side of 58.
58.
Yeah, so we're, when you go in off Liberty, off of 58, Liberty Drive, it's at the back. So in that corner of the world, there's water going, not towards South Creek, but towards the southwest, yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so it goes across Old Spring Hook Road.
It goes towards Old Spring Hook Road, yes, sir.
West of 58, west of First Street.
Yeah, so, Sean, if you could point out that there's well, keep it a larger, Sean, I'll show. So right here, there's probably a drainage swell here, and here, they meet here and come across down here on Old Spring Hook Road.
Cool property.
So I would say it goes southwest this direction.
And like I had a really simple question, but I saw on the site maps attached that had temporary cul-de-sac. What does that mean?
It means it's a permanent cul-de-sac until someone develops the land to the west, and they need to extend the street and go into a new neighborhood.
Okay.
So a lot of times it's that's why it's paved. It's really a permanent until it needs to be extended. Trying to avoid what we have at Liberty Acres right now, where it's just a dead end street with no turnaround for emergency vehicles and fire trucks, etc.
I just didn't know if it came out after construction or stayed until.
It stays there until temporary means it's letting these people know that they're not buying on a cul-de-sac street they're really purchasing a through street that appears to be a cul-de-sac. So when they come back to this board, 5 years now saying they're extending my street, it's crystal clear. The final plat will make sure that it says temporary as well.
Questions? Questions? Ms. Fox, I think, I'll give you more questions.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Chairman, we're hearing everything that was brought to us by Ms. Stotts from Stotts Engineering on the proposed final plat 2024-01 from Liberty Acres, and having to go through the town TRC, and they coming back, making the recommendation that we made, and wanting to follow our recommendations, and following the town ordinance to the T with this proposed final plat. I do not see a problem with recommending this approval to go to the town council in a public hearing format, because they have made all the additional requirements for the allowance, and they made all the requirements for the special use permit that the town did give them back on March 19, 2024. So my recommendation tonight for the planning board would be to approve final plat 2024-01 to go before the town council in a public hearing format. Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you. I yield back to you for deliberation for members of the planning board.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Based on, the presentation by Council and Mr. Stotts, entertain a motion now for either one, accept the recommendation to go to council as submitted, number two, deny with cause or modify with cause. What's the pleasure of the board? Officer City wants to recommend number one, to go forward to council as submitted. They have a second. Second by Ms. Collier. All in favor, say aye. Pass unanimously. Mr. Stotts, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Planning board, now we will move over into the text amendments. As you know, we have been working on overhauling our zoning ordinance. We've been working on this for about the past 4, 5, 6 months now. We're in the final stage with that, but as we continue treading down this road, we continue to find some things that we need to add in to our ordinance, just to kind of tweak some things as we go. So the first thing we're gonna look at, let's start with the awning ordinance. This ordinance was recommended because, if you're not aware, the town does have a facade grant in our downtown district for the MSD. We are encouraging people in the downtown district to apply. We have been having a great success of people applying now for the facade grant. So the town thought that it would be best if we add a awning ordinance into our commercial property maintenance ordinance. So if there is an awning in disrepair or that is blighted, we can send out a notice of violation letter, which will be a friendly letter. And if you probably read the paper, that's what we talked with the MSD board about last Monday night. We can send that out to inform them of, your awning is in disrepair, you can get it repaired, and you can apply for the facade grant to get it reimbursed back to you up to $5,000 maximum. Now, of course, for all the people not in the MSD district, they would not be able to apply for the grant. So if you think about people out here like at LBJ, Piggly Wiggly, all those areas, Walmarts, they would not be able to apply for it. But what we could do is work with them and give them a little bit more time to get it repaired or brought up the code, up to speed for a Pierce loop. So this one was presented to the MSD board. They had no problems with it, but if we want to, we can go line for line, or we could just open up, because I know you did your due diligence, open it up for some general discussion. What's the pleasure of the board?
Discussion.
Only is required. They're not required now.
No. This was
If
just,
they choose to have it, they have to keep it. They have to keep it up.
yes, sir, keep it clean, and if, like I said, if you're in the MSD district, the success you get out of bringing it up to speed and cleaning it up is that you can apply for the facade grant. Of course, if you're out of the district, it's kind of, we're just gonna have to work with you to kind of help you get it to where we want it to be. And it was something that the MSD board kind of really wanted to see, with beautification in the town,
Right.
especially the down. Their main goal was downtown district, but after talking with them, they said it wouldn't be fair to enforce this ruling on the downtown district, and people outside the downtown district don't have to abide by, which we totally agree with them on that.
Let me make a comment. You
Yes.
mentioned we had a side conversation about illumination.
Yes, sir.
So Rick, we had a side conversation about illumination. This for now bans illuminated awnings. But Sean is pursuing looking at some of our peers are doing illumination. We've both seen some covered awnings that were lightly illuminated, that were attractive and drew attention. What we don't want is we've already discussed in past meetings, the light pollution issue we're seeing, especially out of certain businesses.
Yes, sir.
So for now, what Sean's recommending is we ban illumination until we look further to a citywide ordinance that addresses light pollution, and then come back to this with recommendation of what's reasonable. And that's the problem, is we got to have a scale to say what's reasonable or not, so we don't get in trouble having too broad enforcement measures. So I agree with the language right now. For now, we ban them until we explore further the illumination issue called citywide for businesses. And I think everybody here can say they've seen a few businesses that
Right.
that is a safety hazard for the amount of light and flash and scroll it has. So,
And when we're thinking about light illumination, we're thinking about, if you ever been down to Little Washington, that area, you see the awnings like with the little clear bulbs around it at the Italian restaurants, something like that, not nothing that's gonna be,
Something tactical.
there you go, very good word, very good. Yes, sir.
non-distracted, especially
There
in
you go.
bars. So, you know, my understanding is when we write into these ordinances, we're stressed to address appearance, but we can always address safety.
Correct.
So we're looking at, again, what is distracting drivers by brightness and flash and scrolling, neon. So,
What causes a seizure.
yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Will cause the driver to be distracted and have an accident. So, with that said, is there any thoughts from the board, if something needs to be changed here, modified, or you have a question for Mr. Lucas's office? We want to ask this to council with written. If so, I'll entertain a motion.
It stays as is.
Motion that he go forward as is. I need a second. Dennis seconds. All in favor say aye. Motion passes unanimously. Back to you, Sean.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, as we continue on updating these ordinances, as I tell you, we will continue to find some things that we'll be tweaking over throughout the time while we're updating our zone ordinance. The next one was proposed by the vendors for mobile food truck operators. And it started with a mobile food truck operator who operates in another town that I kind of help out in the capacity with. He asked about a annual permit that we do in the other town. And I told him it was something that we may could look at for Nashville to address. But this ordinance change would be that they can come into the town hall, because right now, every time somebody wants to operate a mobile food truck, they have to come and apply, pay the $40 fee. We permit it, we approve them, tell them where they can set up, look at their location, approve that, turn them loose to go out there and vend. They want to know if they could pay a flat fee that gives them a calendar year permit, where all they have to do is come to the town, apply, tell us where they're gonna be at, make sure it meets that zoning district, make sure that the truck meets the ordinance of where we want to sit, and then they're good to go instead of having to continue to pay the $40. So what we were proposing was a $500 fee for these mobile truck food vendors that would like to apply for an annual fee. The $500 fee will run from the day they come pay it, so if we approve it, council approves it the next night. If Sean's Smash Burgers wants to come and pay $500, I can pay $500 from that day to next year calendar day, and I can come back every time and just apply to sell where I want to go. With that, and also it would give them a chance to now where they wouldn't have to keep coming back, pay the $40, because we already charged the lump sum of the $500. Now, me and the chairman did talk about this the other day when he gave me a call to talk about some things for the meeting. And one thing that he did bring out to my attention that I thought would be good is also making them abide by Section D of the ordinance that we already have in effect, which means they do have to continue to come back and draw that buffer where they're going to go. So they won't just say, okay, I got the $500 permit, I'm going to go right in front of the Vino Market and vend and not have the permission. It still gives us some teeth in the game where we can control it without having them have a free fall to be able to go where they want to go. So that is what we are going to propose of amending in the food truck ordinance. A lot of the food truck vendors, when I have talked with them about them, with the $500 cost, they don't see a problem with that for an entire calendar year. They think that is a fair amount because it stops them from having to continue having to send somebody down to continue to pay the $40. So they think that is fair out for them. And now we propose it to the planning board for you guys to deliberate on and give out some conversation.
Questions from the board, comments?
I've got a question. I mean, if they've got an approved site, would there be any problem with them returning to that site each time? Instead of having to go back to the town every time to go to that location?
It wouldn't be, but we would just want them to give us, if they're gonna rent out the Vino Market right in the downtown, over in Dash County parking lot, if they're gonna use that every Saturday, then we would just want to know they're gonna be there. We would just tell them, we don't want you just to pull up on a Saturday morning and say, well, I got the annual permit, I'm ready to start selling. The town would at least like to know that you're gonna be there. Just in case something happens, we can call, or we get a call on the weekend, we can tell one of the police officers that they did let us know they weren't gonna be being there this weekend, and we did approve it.
So the idea is not to give a map of every location they might wanna be, it's every time
Right.
they go somewhere.
Now, if somebody wants to do that, to say, on this weekend, I wanna be at the courthouse parking lot, next weekend, I wanna go down here by the junction, if they wanna do that, we wouldn't have a problem, but we just wanna know where they at.
That way, if somebody else come up and wanted to be at the same place, then you can let them know.
That place is
Say
being
it's
booked, right?
occupied
Right,
during this time.
yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, yes, ma'am.
As long as you say your name.
Nancy Westbrook, Nashville Graphic. Doesn't this mean that once somebody has a year's worth of permission to set up as a food truck vendor, that they would automatically be granted a spot in the Blooming Festival?
No, we were not tied in with the Blooming Festival.
Yeah, but you'd have to have a big exception in there.
We-
Because they would assume, oh, I'm in
But-
for the Blooming Festival,
but
I'm
we're
paid
gonna-
for a year.
We're gonna put a note on the permit at the bottom that says this does not count for Blooming Festival weekend. You need to get in contact with, if you want to be in for that, get in contact with the chamber. Now, if you're gonna be in down at we'll just use the junction that weekend, and that's have nothing to do with the Blooming Festival, then yes, but if you want to be in for that, you cannot.
Nancy brings up a good point, as long as there's caveats in there, we're all on the same page, that's a good observation.
And Sean, I have one more question on the new notes added about, it said run from the date of approval to the following calendar year. Does that mean if you get it in October, you only get until December 31st, or a whole?
Year, if you get October 1, you get October 1,
One whole
2025.
certificate
Yes, ma'am.
expires.
That's when it expires at midnight.
And then
Right, and when they come up, it's only maybe, I think, 4 or 5 of them that's really been inquiring about it, that's going to pay the $500. I think the people who just come in to try it, to see how it goes this weekend, will continue to come to do the $40. But we got maybe 4 or 5 vendors that sell a lot in town, they'll be the ones who will apply for it.
So I think the discussion I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we're asking that, 3 and 4 in our package are set with 4 additions stating that if they go to different locations, they need to provide a diagram as in section D each time. Sean has explained that if they come in with multiple locations, they don't have to come back every time they give it to you in bulk. They know where they're going to be. And we need to make sure there's caveats on there about what it does not apply to. Does that answer everybody's? So with those, go ahead and include.
if they are planning on coming just once, they still have the opportunity for $40
Yes,
per bid.
yes, sir. So we
If they come
will,
3 times, they do $40 each time,
Right.
not do $500. And each time they come under the $40, they have to go through the whole set.
yes, sir. So it'll still be the same way as before with the 40.
So any further questions or
And the
thoughts?
hot dog stand is the same as a food truck.
Yes, sir. So like the hot dog stand, he could go ahead out there to Big Piggly Wiggly. He could go ahead and pay the $500 and be in every day. And he's one of the ones that's kind of been questioning, hey, can we make this happen?
Does he pay 40 times every time, $40 every time he goes to the pig?
No, sir. We are in the process of working on a notice violation to him.
Or is that his personal business with the pig since he's not on public property, I'm just asking?
Technically, if you're gonna be at the Piggly Wiggly, you supposed to apply for a permit every time you're gonna be there to vend. Just like the guy we had down here at the gas station, we ended up having to send him a letter and talk with him, let him know that you cannot vend unless you every day, unless you come pay a $40 permit. So we're getting ready to have that conversation with the hot dog man. We've been noticing about the past month now. We've been watching that he's coming down there vending every day.
Is that because he's a front to the brick and mortar business that we're having to do all the fees and permits with the city?
Yes, sir. That's one reason why, and we want to make sure that our brick and mortar people don't get upset because they do pay taxes and water and sewer rates to the town. So we want to make it fair for everybody, and that's one reason why we want to. If we're going to do it, we just want to make sure that people know that they pay a substantial amount of fee to the town to do this.
That's fair enough.
Is it, and I may have missed it, but is there an ordinance as far as how close they can be to a restaurant, brick and mortar restaurant?
100 feet.
Okay. That's not very far. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Edward Clinton notified us last weekend of that.
Good.
Okay.
He sure did.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so with the comments we've heard, I'll entertain a motion that the ordinance be modified as our discussions reflect. Need a motion? So moving to second. Ms. Collier. Mr. Strickland, second. All in favor, aye? Pass unanimously. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Our last one for tonight, before we wrap things up, would be the sign subdivision ordinance. As we continue to grow in Nashville, we have a lot of subdivisions coming in with new ideas for signage. Our ordinance right now states that a subdivision sign for a single side should only be 32 square feet, and for a double side, it should be double side 32 square feet, and for a single side, 16 square feet. Of course, now with the way they're making signs, those measurements are not accurate on what today's signs are for subdivisions. I had a chance to ride down to Spring Oak, talk to town manager down there, and also look at a sign down there in Spring Oak for a subdivision. It was a double side, it was 40 square feet. I rode through Roseville and Wake Forest, went out and measured some of their subdivision signs, the same thing, 40 square feet. And the one thing was, the same builders that's building all these developments, even in Nashville, are building all these areas too. So what I wanted to propose is that we change the 32 for a double side to 40 square feet, because that's the majority of what everybody's doing in their subdivision, these new developments in Spring Oak, Roseville, Wake Forest, and Franklinton. And for a single side, we do 20 square feet. Still not big enough to be obstructing the view or making it seem where it's going to be a hazard to traffic, but big enough where it meets the ordinance of what people are doing now when people are developing signs for subdivisions.
So double sign is 20 square foot per side.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As long as it's clear, that's 20 per side.
Yes, sir. We'll make sure we put a note of that in the ordinance on that. There's 20 square foot per side, not 40 per side.
Comments or questions to the staff? Again, I'll entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation. Mr. Harper seconds, so Mr. Strickland's motion, Mr. Harper second. Those in favor say aye. Unanimously passed by the board.
Mr. Chairman, that is everything we have tonight from me as far as the planning board meeting, so I will yield back to you and turn it back over to you, sir, for the remainder of the meeting.
And I believe we have a meeting on the 5th.
November the 4th, the first Monday, we'll be meeting for
Ms.
the,
Collier's out. We know about anybody else out on Ms. Collier?
as of right now, Ms. Collier will be the only one out. I think everybody else will be present that I spoke with and talked with.
Okay. Unless there's any further business.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock on Monday, and packages will be delivered. I was gonna bring them tonight, I just didn't want nobody to get confused with the package you brought. Package will be delivered tomorrow morning on your doorstep or the requested spot you asked me to leave it at.
For the business, our meeting is adjourned.
Just on the day, the 14th is a Thursday, is that the day? Or is it the 11th?
for the next meeting. It's November the 4th, the day before.
Oh, I'm
The
sorry.
first
I thought you
Monday.
said 14th.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
gonna be that
I'm
day,
sorry.
but we had
Okay.
changed, that's right.
Okay.
Monday the 4th.
Yes, sir, at 6 p.m.
You stand adjourned.